Dun-dun-dun-dun. Hi, it's Paul Fontaine, Jeff Hawkins here on the Dynamite Show, here on the Fight Game Media YouTube channel, right here on X. And if you're listening Thursday morning or Wednesday morning, yes, we'll be actually going head to head with Keelan and Scott because they're doing the wrap tonight too. So it'll be both of us will be in your feed tomorrow morning. So yeah, Jeff Hawkins, myself here with the Dynamite Show, here to talk about Title Tuesday.
I got a few titles for the.
They sure blew that one. Although, well, we'll get to it. But first off, I want to say, thoughts and prayers to everyone in Florida. Some of what happened on tonight's show can probably be blamed on that.
Really?
I think so. I think some talent couldn't get there.
Okay.
Yeah. Although I know the one big change to the card tonight, people thought it had something to do with the hurricane, but Britt Baker missed the show because of an illness is what the official word is. So
she was sick.
She didn't want to do a job.
So
did I say that out loud?
That's possibly there, man. I mean, you can't deny it. We will not speculate because I have not been told anything.
I don't know the sickness. I just know that it prevents one from lying down for 3 seconds. Okay. Matt has a question. We'll get this out of the way. Which baseball team do people in Winnipeg root for? 100%, no question, the Jays. I mean, it's the Jays are Canada's team. So we will drive to Minnesota to cheer against the Twins. So, and I've done that many times. So anyways, on to matters at hand. So yeah, there's a pay-per-view this weekend. We'll talk about it at the end of the show. We'll do a slight preview, whatever we can even remember was on it. And based on this show, I have no idea.
Funny you say that. Throw it to me when we're done with this news section.
Okay, so the news. I mean, first off, Daniel Garcia apparently resigned. We'll talk about that on the show.
Oh, we should. You want to talk about it now?
No.
Okay.
We'll talk about it during the show because I mean they talked about it on the show, which I'm sure came as a shock to 95% of the people watching. I had no idea what the hell he was talking about. But what was it that we were going to talk about?
Sami Callihan.
Right. Oh my God. So what is the thing called Switchblade Conspiracy or something?
Yes. Or Switch.
So when I first saw that, I mean, they have a guy in the company called Switchblade. You would think it might have something to do with that, but apparently it's to do with Sami Callihan. And I'm going to go on record as saying, if Sami Callihan comes into AEW, okay, this won't happen if he just comes in and is a member of the roster. But if he comes in and it turns out he's the one that's behind this whole Moxley thing and he is the head of a main event stable, I think you may have watched your last Dynamite show, or at least there's going to be a different host because I'll be done watching AEW. That's not a threat. That's a promise. I hate Sami Callihan. I do not want to see him on TV. If he gets signed and he's, another face in the crowd that we see, 4 times a year, I don't care. But if he is on TV every week with John Moxley's crew and they're doing their bullshit, stuff that he does, and no, I'm done. I'm tapped and out. I was already they're maybe going to have a new 2-hour show next week. So now that's going to be 6 hours of AEW I got to keep up with. Plus I heard Dark and Elevation might come back. Did you hear that?
No, I hope not.
Well, it's not required viewing, but me, if I'm going to watch it, if I'm watching AEW, I'm going to watch everything.
Yeah, I know.
But if I don't, I'm done. I'm done. So warning, if Sami Callihan shows up on Saturday, bye-bye.
Oh, hold on. How high
high
up the card does Sami Callihan have to be for you to quit? On the
if
roster?
If he's the head of Moxley's stable. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If he's the head of Moxley's stable.
Let me slide in here a little bit.
Okay.
With a few disclaimers. Number one, I respect Sami Callihan for his body transformation over the years. I do, literally, because when he started, when he started with Les Thatcher, he was really fat and out of shape. I've seen some early stuff.
I'm an ROH historian. When I saw him in ROH in 2009, 2010, he looked like Pete Dunne. So I don't know where. So he lost.
But weight. Before that, he was fat.
All that weight he lost, he found it.
Yeah. Okay. Fine.
Yeah. Like he's pretty fat right now.
Allow me to continue.
Okay, sorry.
1 year, he was part of my match of the year with Swerve Strickland versus the South Pacific Power Trip of TK Cooper and Travis Banks, who no longer wrestles because he got speaking out. Let's put it that way. I can't stand Sami Callihan either. The spitting, I find his promos to be Raven light. I'm with you. I don't know if I'll quit.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Yeah, are you making fun of Garrett?
No, that's his catchphrase.
Yeah, no, that's true too. I forgot about that.
But Garrett can take that and use it for his show if he wants.
Yeah, that's very true. He could.
Yeah.
Yeah, if he's the grandmaster of this whole thing, screw that.
No, Tony's lost the plot if that's the case.
Well, he's lost a lot of plots lately.
If that is the case, then you know what that means? That means that Sami Callihan is going to come in on Saturday and he's going to cost Bryan Danielson the AEW World Championship and his career.
That means
Sami Callihan.
Moxley's in charge of his creative. That means that's what that means.
Yeah, or Sammy's in charge of Mox's.
I hope not.
Yeah, I don't either. Well, I think Moxley's in charge of his own creative.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that this was Moxley's idea. Then.
Oh no, I think that's already the case.
Okay.
In fact, I think for a long time now, Mox has been on. Remember they used to talk about the Cody verse? I think there's a Moxley verse.
Okay.
It's because what did he just do to Private Party? And they're challenging for the tag team titles. Like,
well, it worked. He motivated them.
A coherent company would not have done that to guys that are going to be challenging for the tag team titles.
By the way, was his hand broken this week, or did I miss that? He took off the cast, I think. Or
he did a promo on one of the weekend shows where his hand was still broken.
Okay, I didn't check his hand this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't see it
today. This week.
They did a good promo though.
Oh no, the promo was really good.
Yeah,
like on my verdict on this show was the last 30 minutes were pretty darn good. Just the first 90 were just a snorer.
I had the exact same thing. You said 3. I think you said 3. You meant 30.
No, I said the last 30.
Okay, I heard 3.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, no, I may have heard you wrong. In fact, I probably did. But I do have something, and I'll ask you now, and then we'll talk about it again later. I thought that the last 5 minutes of this show perfectly set up Wheeler turning on Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Because I was texting.
I thought he was going to turn during this match because he hadn't touched the BCC until this match.
Well, not even necessarily during the match.
Oh,
but
no.
Certainly in the post-match.
Paul, I'm going deep here. I thought these guys had all gotten together and decided, you know what? Wheeler Yuta's going to be the Kaiser Soze of this entire thing. And he ordered the code red, and he has leverage on the Blackpool Combat Club or something. And he's going to be the brains behind this whole thing because he didn't touch anybody during the turn when they originally attacked Bryan on the show where he lost his smile or whatever. In the other turn or in the other setup last week with the hammer, he never touched anybody. No. So it was perfect for this. And now, look, I'll spoil it because it's the top line. To me, they've truncated the Luger Wyndham angle from Jim Crockett from a year to 4 days. Yeah, and that's stupid to me because
the deal is, in my mind, Bryan Danielson left Wheeler Yuta in the ring by himself to get beat up by 3 people.
Yes.
And that's why he's going to turn.
And then at the end of the match, he's doing all his celebrating and stuff while Wheeler's trying to paw at his leg for help or whatever.
Yeah.
But Bryan Danielson
and a lot of people probably missed this because it happened 10 minutes after the show was supposed to be over. Danielson held up Wheeler's hand to celebrate at the end, like when he chased Moxley off and everything, and Wheeler gave him a look.
Yes, this is obvious to me. This is This
and I was arguing with people saying, "Oh no, he's not gonna. Why would he team with guys that just beat him up with a hammer?" Because
it's stupid, and that's what they do. Oh, I learned my lesson. You were right this whole time.
Better to be friends with these guys than enemies, right?
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
Danielson's going to be gone. He's going to be
don't know,
either
but
3-on-1 against them, or he's going to be teaming with them.
But the brilliance again of the Wyndham Luger turn
Yeah.
was the J.J. Dillon promo a year before the turn ever happened, where he goes, "You guys are going to be teaming someday, and he's not going to be there for you."
And he wasn't.
And he wasn't. Yeah, and it was just so great.
And Moxley at some point, forget a year. We could have said 2 weeks ago. He could have said to Wheeler, "You've hitched your wagon to Bryan Danielson, and I'm going to tell you, at some point you're going to need Danielson, and he won't be there for you." And
they were telling
tonight.
him that he didn't understand this entire thing, and I still don't understand this entire thing because
Nobody
of that Moxley promo
thing
on the opener, which we're going to, which is now a nice segue, but I'm not going to segue because I have a rant in me.
Okay, well, get your rant out.
AEW go-home shows for pay-per-views suck.
Well, this one more than most.
This one more than most. And we need to have a come to Jesus meeting and have some requirements for the go home show. You know what those requirements are? Number one, that you announce the card at the top of the show and say, "Oh, don't forget to tune in Saturday for Wrestle Dream, blah, blah, blah. Here's the matches." And you know what? Every single person on that card needs to cut some kind of promo about their match on Saturday. This lack of a hard sell that
can I add an addendum to that?
You may, sir.
Okay. What's the main event?
Danielson versus Moxley.
And what happens if Danielson loses?
He retires.
Right. So how about we have some promos, maybe from people that are on the show but not on the pay-per-view, talking about how important Danielson was and how much they hope that he wins and how much, we hope that we haven't seen the last of Danielson.
Well, they should be doing that every week anyways. Because every week he does a match, it should be in danger. And we should be built. Yeah. I mean, this was something that my other show partner said. We've created this world, and now we need to dive into it. And now we need to say, every week could be the last week we ever see Bryan Danielson again. And that sense of dread. And, you don't want to be the person to miss the show where Bryan Danielson ends up retiring, et cetera, et cetera. They don't do the hard sell. You'll see a lot of good matches.
And some people will say that the reason that nobody believes the stipulation is because nobody believes in any stipulations anymore because no company's ever fulfilled them. Well, how about nobody believes the stipulation? Because number one, Bryan Danielson himself has said he's never going to retire.
Yes.
Number two, they're barely ever even emphasizing the fact that he might retire at the thing. And number three, they do live up to their stipulations in this company, believe it or not. Like if you go back and you look and you say, this could never happen if somebody wins or loses or whatever, like Cody never challenged for the world title.
Correct.
So you can't blame WWE never lives up to their stipulations, so nobody's going to believe it on an AEW pay-per-view. No, they're not going to buy this pay-per-view because they've done a dog shit version of promoting it. Yes. There's no matches on there that people want to see other than the main event, and I'm not even sure how much people want to see that.
No, because they've almost tipped their hand. Because I think people were actually excited to see Darby and Danielson.
Yes, because you actually because in my mind,
because it was different.
It was different, and you thought, you know what, this could be a passing of the torch.
Yes,
it's going to be Danielson's last match, but Darby's in his home state, and he's going to win the title, and he's going to be the face of AEW. Now it's Moxley.
Well, not just that. I mean, now think about this, Paul. If you pass the torch to Darby, it's passing the torch to a younger guy. Mm-hmm. What they're going to do now is through the Moxley-Danielson match, quote unquote, pass the torch to Yuta.
Yeah, and eventually Darby, but for now,
and Yuta, for cheap heat, and it's just like no.
And then at 6 months or a year, whenever Danielson recovers from his next,
he returns for a special match, and they're
against
all part
Yuta.
of it, and they get scared.
Yuta,
no, yeah, and it's probably something like Anarchy in the Arena, like a walk-in brawl type thing, or something of that.
Or a real match, like
it could lead to a real match
against AEW World Champion Wheeler Yuta.
Oh God, no! TNT champion Wheeler.
Yeah.
Yuta.
So I interrupted your rant. Was there more?
No. That I think it should be required that everybody on the damn card should be on the go home show, and they should be talking about the match they're going to wrestle on the pay per view. This is simple stuff to me.
And this card should have been announced.
Where were the Bucks? where they weren't.
Well, Hangman
heels.
versus Jarrett, or Hangman versus Jarrett. Hangman versus that would have been a better match. Hangman versus Jay White. Jay White made the challenge for the match halfway through the show. The match was made with about 5 minutes left in the main event. That's a big match. That might be your second biggest match on the show.
No, I mean, if you're going to do that, put Jay White on first for his squash, have him challenge Tony Khan says it, and then later in the show, we get reactions from Hangman. All right.
Well, cool, Hangman, I'm assuming, couldn't make it because of the hurricane.
Do a pre-tape. He's in for...
Oh, no, because the challenge hadn't been made yet. We can't pre-tape it. People would know.
God, you know what? They do these live backstage
I know
interviews, and they still can't fix their sound because Bryan Danielson sounded like he was talking in a tin can today.
Hey, so it wasn't just me, okay? Because I thought it might have just been my feed. They still have these issues. Hey, well, yeah. But, Raw had issues on Monday. Yeah,
everybody has issues. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's just the same issue happens every week on this show.
But maybe book your card like 2 weeks out. And then you have time to promote it.
Plan. I just want simple planning, dude. We'll get to that too.
I gotta find the card. What is this show called? Wrestle Dream?
Yes.
Okay. Wrestle Dream 2020.
They're dreaming they're gonna get a buy rate out of this thing.
I don't think they care. They got $555 million from WBD. If they sell 50 pay-per-views, they'll be fine. Jonathan says here he's been getting IG ads for Hangman versus Jay White at Wrestle Dream ads for
imagine that.
Well, I mean, it's not like we didn't know the match was going to happen. I mean, last week, although the people in this building, I don't think knew. I don't think a single person in that building watched Dynamite last week.
Were there people in the building? That's my question. I mean, up until the main event, I wasn't sure.
That'll be a good segue to our recap here because at the very top of my notes. This is their debut in the Spokane market, right? And there was a lot of Washington presence. We got Aubrey, we got Swerve. Oh, he wasn't on the show. We have Darby. He did some talking. We had Danielson in the main event.
Cody Chun was on.
Yeah, big star. 1,852 fans. Of those 1,852, about 3 days ago, they were at 1,200. So do you think 600 people bought tickets for this show, or you think those might have been comps?
Papered.
Yeah, and they think maybe a lot of those 600 people didn't actually show up.
I don't know. It might have been the miking in the arena too. I might be wrong.
Could be, but it could also be that not a lot of people showed up. Because I mean, okay, bad night. I mean, it wasn't the normal night. It wasn't the normal time. They really didn't announce anything for this card. I mean, it was a big main event, and they did announce it last week. Like, that is a big main event. I'll give them credit. Yes. It was Title Tuesday. We had one title match on the show. People will say, well, we also had a number one contenders match, so that's title related. The main event had 4 people in it, and
the show had a title. The title was Title Tuesday. Therefore, it's a Title Tuesday.
Someone, I will give credit to Preet Paul, came up with the idea. Should have called it Titty Tuesday. That would have sold more tickets. And in that 4-way contenders match for the world title, it would have been applicable.
You can reach Paul at Paul Ace Fontaine on
put up
Twitter.
The Iron Savages on the show again.
No, God.
Hey, Titty.
Yes, that's what the show needed was the Iron Savages. Because we didn't have enough who on this show.
I haven't watched NXT yet, Transferring Heat, so I'll take your word for it. After watching NXT at their venue with the stars they brought in to help out with the young talent, makes this Dynamite look piss poor. Just wait till next week when they're back in the Performance Center.
I watched the first hour; it was impressive.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
At least, I will watch nuts it for Jey Uso, so whatever.
I was gonna say I will watch it when we're done, but I might be too tired because this stupid show started too late. And by this stupid time, I don't like change. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I kind of slipped this in, and you probably missed it. And I'm catching you off guard right now, but I'll warn the listeners. I'm actually off next week. I think I'm going to see Pink in Minneapolis. So we're driving down on Wednesday, and the show's on
coming
Thursday.
Out, so you better get this party started.
Yeah. Me, my granddaughter, and my daughter, and my wife. So 3 generations.
Oh,
yeah.
I bet you they're thrilled to be going with you.
Oh yeah. No, they really are. These tickets.
No, they're thrilled to go to Pink, but
no, they're thrilled to go with me. Believe me, my granddaughter loves me. All right,
that's true.
So we started, as you mentioned, with Moxley, and it was a cold open. And he says Danielson's trying to kamikaze himself. It's got to be me to take him out. This is the real world. Nothing lasts forever. You don't pick the day. All these people are living in a fantasy world, figments of their own imagination. Saturday night, they will see the truth. The Bryan Danielson that most people don't understand. In the ring, the American Dragon comes to life, but you back him in a corner, poking, prodding, provoking. He becomes terrifying. He's not comfortable with that part of himself. As the world closes around him, Bryan Danielson will embrace his dark side, and I'll be ready. I have to be. I don't have a choice. There are not enough people in the state of Washington to stop me on Saturday night. What I stand for is too powerful. I and those who came with me are too powerful. I will run into the mouth of war. Run while you have a chance. I can only hope that one day, Bryan, you'll understand. It's got to be this way. I don't have time to worry about that right now. Stakes are too high. I wrote down every word he said, and I have no idea what the hell he said.
That's what I mean, it was weird because me and Zach Haydorn, I actually didn't press enter, so we weren't talking. But he was like, this is such a great promo. I was like, no, it was gibberish. What is he talking about? The stakes are too intense. There's two of these angles now in where we have self-destructive baby faces, and there's some big thing that we must destroy them before they destroy themselves or something to that effect. What is
was the other one, Darby?
Yes. Okay, what is at stake here for this?
The title, but he never mentioned the title.
No. I know what the stake for the match is, but he says the stakes are too high for this. It's like, is this Crisis on Infinite Earths? Is Earth AEW going to be destroyed if Moxley doesn't take out Danielson? What? It
almost came off like he was trying to bring out the dark side of Danielson to bring him into the fold. But if he beats him, he's done. So I don't like
this.
You know
this is a promo of somebody who has leverage on Moxley. That's the thing. And it's just like, all right, but John Moxley is a badass and can beat up anybody in the company. We've put that up there. What is possibly, because it's a frantic promo, and it's one of those things where you're watching and going, the payoff to this isn't possible because there's no stakes big enough unless it's like Tony Khan has threatened to put the title on himself, and damn it, the Dodgers lose.
So they're down 2-1 now?
Yeah.
What off indie movie this week should I study to understand Mox?
Oh God, I don't know.
Gladiator.
Strange Darling. How about that one?
There you go. Yeah, Gladiator.
Yeah, it's like we're talking in riddles, and there's going to be a reveal, and they're building up this reveal. And I don't.
Maybe they just floated the Sammy. Maybe they just floated the Sammy thing out there so that people won't be upset when it's Shane.
It's Shane. It has to be Shane, and Shane probably has talked to Yuta or something like that. I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Well, Yuta's the only guy that wouldn't fit if it is Shane.
Yes, I know that too.
Yeah,
that's why I thought Yuta was the guy who ordered the code red originally.
There's a guy that should have made the save, and I'll talk about it later. I won't spoil my thesis, but yeah.
Were you gonna say Garcia?
Yeah.
I
just did spoil. Why? Like he was there
because I was thinking this. No, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and that would have got a big pop, but I guess it's not the plan. All right, Danielson promo from earlier today, and this is the one where you could barely hear what he was saying. He says, apparently Claudio did an interview with Sports Illustrated. Okay. I told him it's going to be my last match on Dynamite. This won't be my last match on Dynamite.
I'm going to go on tomorrow. I'm going to kick your head in, and then it's going to...
Okay. I'm going to run through you and PAC on Saturday. Now, Mox, you don't know when you're going to see me. 20 years, I've been your friend. I supported you in every company. Tonight, there's no support. It's just me in Spokane, Washington, kicking your head in. Sound quality was atrocious.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
My receiver didn't know what to do with it.
I don't know how that sounded because, like, in my headphones it sounded okay, but it probably didn't sound good.
That's all right.
Which was the intention, by the way.
Look, we're here for bad comedy, so we're doing that anyways. But yeah, I mean, look,
just wait till you get to my Briscoe promo.
It was a decent promo, but at the same time, I'm kind of tired of hearing how, hey, we were in that other company.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, he was also
unless it's equal Shane.
He was talking about Ring of Honor.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Every company we've worked for, not
every
just the
company we've
one.
worked for. PWG, protect them from the Bucks.
Yeah. Was Claudio in PWG? I don't even know.
Oh God, yes.
You would know.
Yes.
Okay. More talking. Darby in the ring.
I don't mind talking. I just like talking with a point.
Brody King joins him. He says, "I'm excited you answered my challenge. You could have asked nicely, though." Yeah. So on Collision, I think it was, maybe it was Rampage. No, I think it was Collision. Darby comes out and he's pissed off that no one's accepted his open challenge. I thought an open challenge was you show up at the pay-per-view and someone accepts it and you don't even know what it's going to be. But he wants to know ahead of time. So if you want to know ahead of time, why don't you just challenge somebody? But anyways.
That's more of an open contract that Darby has from back in the day.
And he says you could have asked nicely. They also could have showed what happened for the, most of this audience that didn't watch Collision. He says, I know what you're doing.
We had to do a learning tree segment with
frickin'... You remember years ago on the Indies, we stayed in those crackhead hotels. We said one day this will all be worth it. We're going to make it to TV and we're going to stay true to ourselves. But you didn't know how your career was going to end up. I remember everything. I got hired by AEW, but you were still working for Ring of Honor. You called me every week. ROH shut down, and this is before Tony Khan bought it. No one knew its future. You were out of a job with 2 kids. I called Tony Khan. I told him to hire Brody King. I got you the job here. The thing is, you don't take this for granted. We're so much alike. Because of you, because of AEW, you had your dad retire, just like me. You bought your family a house. You want my spot. I'm the face of this company. I was the guy who wasn't supposed to make it, but because of AEW, I made it. I'm the guy that's relied on to do talk shows. So he's the Miz now. I do it. And then Brody stops him and he says, "Stop, you're right. You have everything I want. The difference is I didn't take it for granted. You got a death wish. What happens when you climb Mount Everest and you don't come back? Then your dad's going to have to go get a job. AEW doesn't have a face. At the end of the day, you need someone to save you from yourself." And then Darby says, "Why wait till Saturday? Put me out of my misery. Take my spot." Sits in the corner. He's like, "Woo, woo, woo." And Brody tells him to get up. Darby gets up and slaps him. Darby dropped him with an elbow. Here's where I noted Jeff Jarrett was on commentary. I don't know. It's the first I noticed. Darby, babyface Darby, the face of the company, he pulls out a rock and he hits Brody King right in the face with it. I think legit. His mouth is all busted open. Tony Schiavone mentions that he had the rock with him in a recent interview. I'm like, what?
It's his pet rock.
I guess. And I thought it was like a piece of Mount Everest or something.
That's what I thought too. This was terrible.
Oh my God! What a
I don't even want you to finish it. This thing sucked. And it's almost the story of Darby Allin's death wishes turning him heel. And God bless him, on X there's an account called Tape Machines. She says every Darby Allin promo, and it's a screenshot from The Sopranos of Tony Soprano saying, "Remember when is the lowest form of conversation."
Yeah.
And he's right.
And he's constantly
Brody King has been in this company for 3 years now. And now we're doing the, "Hey, remember when we were on the Indies and I used to live in my car?" He does it. I lived in my car promo every single angle. And it would be fine if it was like, I lived in my car for a while, but now I'm this. But it's not. It's dwelling on this past and how abused he was and how nobody ever believed in him. And I get the Rudy part of it. Don't get me wrong. But it's just one of those things where I'm just like, when is this guy going to stop whining and be a star?
Do you remember the feud, him and Sting against the Bucks?
Yes.
You remember that famous promo that was terrible? You remember what he accused the Bucks of?
Hiring his California friends.
Yeah, and All Friends Wrestling.
Yes.
What did he do?
Yes. That's it. I need corporate Darby.
Yeah,
I need Darby in a suit.
And then he hit him in the face with a rock.
And they hit him with a face with a rock.
Yeah.
Nice.
And you know what?
Hey, you know what else? You were my buddy on the Indies, crack.
Do you remember? I don't know when it was. I want to guess about 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago.
Remember when is the lowest form of conversation, Paul?
But do you remember when? Do you remember an angle?
Yes.
Where Darby was at some sort of comic convention and Brody King attacked him and beat the shit out of him?
Yes, this is at San Diego Comic-Con.
I thought it was in Seattle.
It might have been. It's at one of these. No. You're right. It was at this pop culture convention that they do around
in that market.
In
they
that
could
market.
have shown that.
Yes.
And
Okay.
and played it up into this
And
angle.
I think it was within a year. I don't even think it was 2 years ago. I
think it was longer ago because time moves pretty fast these days.
Time's a flat circle.
Transferring Heat says Darby better watch out. Mercedes.
By the way, I thought Jeff Jarrett stunk on commentary tonight. And I love Jeff Jarrett.
I think he probably was told he was going on commentary about 5 minutes before the show started.
And don't get, Nigel's not going to be able to make it.
Yeah. And we can't get him on a plane this week. Last week we could. Yeah. Last week we got him here when Taz got jumped in the parking
lot. Although
for
whoever said it, yes, upgrade on Taz. But then again, a mannequin would be an upgrade on Taz.
I don't know. I think an empty seat would have been an upgrade over both of them.
And the thing is, Jarrett does a good job on like the pre-shows and stuff.
Yeah,
and I could see why you put him in that chair, but it feels like he, you know what? It feels like they didn't give him time to prep.
Yes, yeah, and he probably has no idea where any of these angles are going. So what's he supposed to do? Neither does. And there was and then I remember this too. There was a concert where Brody threw Darby off the stage in the crowd. They have a long history. They could have built this.
Yes,
up.
and this time. During the open challenges, when we do remember when we were buddies on the Indies?
We never knew any of this before. Yeah. They feuded. They've had blood feuds before, but whatever. Who cares?
Didn't he? Wait, am I mixing him up, or was he the guy or is that Brian Cage? Who was the one that choked him out of the Battle Royal?
That was him. It was 100% him.
Joey.
Yeah. Yes. It was a world title shot, I think. Brody King got a world title shot.
Memory of a flea on this book.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, he could probably remember like a random angle from 2009 ROH Weekly Television.
But you know what? He's going to go on that ROH conference call tomorrow, or that pay-per-view conference call tomorrow. He's going to bring up all these angles and talk about the great history between Brody and Darby, and all the fans are going to be like, "Oh my God, what awesome storytelling!" Okay, to the back with remarkable Renee Paquette. Oh, this segment. She's with Jake and Lance Archer. She says, last week, Callis tried to acquire Lance Archer. Did you watch Rampage or Collision?
I watched this scene from it.
So you did see this?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many people watched either of those shows?
I think it was like 16,000, wasn't it?
Not 16,000. It was like 216,000. But it's still like a third of the Dynamite audience watched either of these two shows. And a lot of those people probably watched both. So I don't think anybody knew what the hell she was talking about. And it was a backstage segment where Callis goes up to Lance and says, Jake Roberts still managing you? And he says, yep. Okay, great. And then he leaves. That was the whole segment. Like, that was it. Like, that's him. That's him trying to recruit.
That's not even the most egregious thing that they did on a Collision that they brought up tonight with absolutely no comment. But we'll continue.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. So Callis shows up and he says, Mr. Roberts and I have completed the first talent exchange in AEW history. It's my understanding after meeting and with several bank transfers that Lance Archer is now with me. And they shake hands.
Well, that's false too.
Why?
Nana bought Tully Blanchard Enterprise.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, and what about Matt Hardy and
and Swerve acquired the
embassy.
The embassy.
Right.
So
it became the Mogul Embassy.
The Mogul became the Mogul. The Mogul affiliates became Mogul Embassy.
And what about Matt Hardy and the
Private Party?
No, there was something else. There was the Hardy Family Office.
Yes, the Hardy Family Office. Oh, and Andrade. Yeah, because he bought from Andrade.
Yeah, or Andrade bought him. I'm not sure which.
Yeah, something like that.
I think depends on who you talk to. The other one bought the other one.
Now, that said, I love talent exchanges between heel managers.
Yeah. And then, because this harkened back to like Bobby Heenan and Mr. Fuji and stuff like that. Slick selling Hercules.
My favorite one was when Buddy Landell sold Butch Reed to Skandar Akbar.
Well, I think Don Callis sold two people he didn't even own, but we'll get to that.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So Renee asked what this means for the Don Callis family. He says he's got big plans for Lance Archer. Yeah, I'm sure of that. And he says, let's go meet the family. And that's the last we saw Lance Archer.
Yeah, despite the fact that the family was out later.
Yep. And probably could have done something too.
Yeah, that's
Renee asks who he got. Renee asked Jake who he got, and he says, "You like surprises? So do I." Translation: Jake has no idea.
I believe Jake had no idea. And I believe they had no idea either. And they were trying to think of a story in the back after they taped this.
No, I
possibly.
to be fair, I think they knew this. I think
No,
they
but
were
I don't
trying to-
think Jake did.
No. Jake had no idea. But I think that they listened to the criticism of Roosh leaving Don Callis to
Yes.
rejoin LFI, so they had
Look,
to figure out a way to tie it up.
I was fine with how this all got rectified eventually. I am.
There's no chance Don watches the.
I
the
don't
product.
think Jake Roberts fits with Los Ingobernables de AEW,
That's
but
okay, because this is probably the last time we see him with them.
I think so too. I think he probably just
Yeah.
gets dropped.
No, they'll reference him. What about the Righteous?
They're ROH. They don't
Maybe
matter.
maybe they're part of the Callis family too.
As a throw-in,
Yeah,
like players to be named later
and then he can
in the
trade.
trade.
He can trade them.
They're
to,
the Chris
fight
Gatling
Braxton
of
Andretti.
and Leo Rush probably.
No, you can keep Theo.
But
all right.
Leo's probably joining MVP.
Renee's all over the place. Next time we see her, she's in a parking lot. And Daniel Garcia walks up. We haven't seen Daniel Garcia in months.
Yes.
And she says, we haven't seen you since All Out. I think it was All In, or maybe I wrote it down wrong. And she says, we got a lot of questions about your future. And he says, well, much as I like to give you an answer, I owe it to everyone to go tell them myself. So that's that. We're going to see him later.
Great.
Little segment to set up the future for a guy nobody cares about.
Yes. Who's
Holo-
not on the
and-
pay-per-view?
And not only that, what's the last thing we saw Daniel Garcia do?
Quit?
No.
What was it?
He put MJF out of action.
Oh yeah.
That was not mentioned at all tonight.
No,
That's a
of course
pretty
not.
big deal.
Nobody's mentioned MJF in weeks.
No, but he got rid of MJF. That's a
Yes.
big deal.
Yes, it
You'd
is.
think that would make people care about him. But
No.
they didn't mention it. They didn't show a highlight of it.
Because this
Whatever.
is television, and why would we want to show things?
No, because you know why? Because AEW viewers aren't stupid. They remember everything. Hologram
for breakfast.
Hologram versus Komander. Title Tuesday here.
Whose idea was it to put this match on a go-home show for a pay-per-view?
I don't know.
This match
Crowd loved it.
stunk.
I mean, the match was fine. Hologram, okay. He did the best tope I've ever seen. So he dove onto Komander, and somehow Komander, the momentum from the dive, Komander goes backwards about 20 steps into the barricade. It was pretty cool. Like the way Komander moved, it was like he was
Yes.
forced to move. Like that was cool. I gotta admit. But I mean, they did
Can
a
I ask you
million
a question?
things. What?
Is Komander a babyface or a heel?
I believe he's a babyface, but I have no idea.
He is.
Okay.
Why are we putting him up against the babyface that's I don't know
Because they're awesome wrestlers and they're gonna have an awesome match.
because they're both luchadors, and luchadors don't matter
Because
unless you
Collision
make
is
them
for
matter.
the sickos. Oh wait, this is Dynamite. Sorry. Like this was a Collision match. I'm sorry, but
I would have loved to have known more about Hologram,
yeah,
given that he's been Collision only.
well, I think he had one Dynamite match. There was another cool spot where I think it was Komander was doing a rope walk from one side and Hologram was doing one from the other. No, it was the other way around. So Hologram's doing a rope walk and Komander jumps on the ring and does another rope walk and then jumps and gives him a flying power bomb. And the crowd chanted, "Holy shit!" And then I wrote down Hologram wins with some spinning move that Excalibur said the name of the move, and I rewound 3 times and gave up. So it was a spinning move. I don't know what it was. And transferring heat. No. It was a collision of collision matches. Let's be clear on that because.
Well, I think he assumes because it's Komander, it's Rampage.
Yes, but Hologram is this match on Title Tuesday, no less.
Yeah, well, it was for a title, all right.
Yeah. I will never. Okay, the only problem is, okay, Matt. He says I'll never complain about a Nitro ass thrown together great match. It was a great match. I will not deny that. I gave it 3.5 stars. Not quite great, but very good. That's not the problem with AEW. Not every match needs a story. It's that their stories should matter are bad. Okay. On 80% of the shows, I would agree with that. Not every match needs a story.
No,
but this was the go
it
home
needs a
show.
reason to watch it, though.
This was the go home show for a pay-per-view.
Yes.
There needs to be a story.
No, there doesn't need to be a story. There needs to be a reason I'm watching it.
If you know what, here's a story. The winner gets eliminated.
Gets to be on the pre-show. Gets to be on the 0 hour. Whatever.
Gets a title match. Like whatever. They got a million titles.
Yeah, we have 28 titles. We can
yeah. And then it ties in with Title Tuesday too. But no, because you know why? Because they don't want to beat Hologram yet, and they don't want to give him a title. So we're just gonna keep throwing them out there to have matches. So
he'll pop the crowd.
Yeah. And after the match is over, Jake Roberts wanders out. And Rush, Jalistico, and Mortos come out to attack both of them. So Mortos, who has been with every heel faction in the company at some point or another in the last 2 months, is now with these guys. I mean, to be fair, the last time we saw him, I think he was with these guys too.
No, the running joke, though, has been Mortos. I'm sorry, but the Mortos' choice. Where
well, did you see the interview on Collision?
It's kind of conflicting. So yes,
yeah, where the Kingdom tried to recruit him, and he looked like he was going to join with them.
Mungo but pawn in Game of Life,
and apparently everyone can understand him.
Yes,
too. Yeah,
everyone can understand the growls and stuff, but no, him and Rush are friggin' awesome, man. There should be none of this. I'm not sure.
I assume this is leading to the return of El Hijo del Vikingo, and we're gonna have a 6-man at some point.
Boy, and you know what? You know who's really in touch with the Hispanic culture is Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh yeah. Well, he's got that history in Mexico.
But what they need to be doing until next Wednesday is brainstorming reasons to make this make sense, and for why Jake Roberts makes a good fit for these guys, and make it fit.
I want to see a Jake Roberts Roosh strategy session.
Oh God, yes. Or they're just talking about killing fools. I'm here for that.
Yeah. So these three are now a unit. They do the LFI sign, and Jake is very happy at ringside. And then Excalibur mentions that Jake gets all three from Callis, even though Roosh was the only one that was part of the family. Someone on X pointed out Roosh and Jalistico are packaged. So no matter what, you get Roosh, you get Jalistico, but for sure Mortos did not have anything to do with the Callis family, and Don Callis just sold them.
Yes.
Yeah. That's kind of funny. Actually.
Maybe explain that a little bit.
They're not going to bother.
No.
So we go backstage, and this is not I am not misspeaking when I say this, and I will expand on this thought in a minute. It's Lexi Nair, not Renee, not anybody else. Lexi Nair, which is weird. She's hardly ever on Collision. I assume this was probably taped on Saturday because it was Lexi's only appearance. And Lexi is talking to Jay Briscoe. And he says, Jericho, man, you done messed up. You didn't have to take it there. This ain't a place you want to be at, man. At Wrestle Dream, it ain't even about this, man. I'm going to hurt you. That was it. At some point on Saturday during his promo, Mark Briscoe morphed into Jay Briscoe. And this was Jay Briscoe tonight. Jericho's in for some getting fucked up on Saturday, and that's the match I'm most looking forward to on Saturday, believe it or not. And it's not because I think it's going to be a good match.
Well, okay, but if that's true, then we shouldn't have had that learning tree segment. We should have had Jericho watching this promo,
and scared,
and reacting
shitless.
And getting scared. Yes.
Maybe even try to convince Bill or Keith to take the match.
Yeah, something.
Yeah.
If we're gonna keep him a flake, we should,
Yeah. But did you see what I saw? Like,
yes,
especially on Saturday. It was more on Saturday than here. Because he even did something like he's wearing the headband now, like Jay did. So like
he's done that before, but okay.
I think it's Mark Briscoe's a really smart guy. And I actually do think that this is by design. Like, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just hearing something I want to hear, but this was not.
There was a little. Well, I mean, they're brothers. They'll have that cadence.
Whatever this was not a Mark Briscoe promo.
No, it was not. It was a Jay Briscoe promo without the swearing.
Yeah.
Jay
exactly.
Briscoe likes to swear, or he likes to swear
He
a
does.
lot.
Yeah, like if Jay Briscoe did this promo, he would have said, "Jericho, man, you
I'm
done
gonna
fucked
effing
up.
kill you."
You didn't have to take it there, man. This ain't a place you want me to be at, man. At Wrestle Dream, it ain't even about this fucking belt. I'm gonna hurt you. I'm gonna fuck you up real bad." That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So that was that. That was short and sweet. It was like
You wanted
it
to
was
do
like
the.
15
You just
seconds.
wanted to do the impression again. I know what you were doing.
It's not as good as the Mark one, but I try. Daniel Garcia out. He's been gone since all in, and these people didn't. I don't think they even knew who he was. He says, "How you guys doing tonight?" And they all cheer. Says, "Feels good to come out here. Feel your energy. I've been at home for a while. I've missed this. Thank you so much for that." Fans chant, "Welcome back." Thanks to Tony Khan for letting me come out here. He didn't have to do that. When you're at home contemplating, you have so much time to think. What's best for my life? What's best for me? These answers aren't always easy. It's not the most popular answer either. Thing is, I never wanted to be a guy who doesn't follow through on my word, disappear with no explanation, but you did. So I just feel it was really important to come out here, look you all in the eye, and let you know what I'm going to do. I feel like I came to the conclusion that Daniel Garcia can do what he wants because Daniel Garcia is one of the best professional wrestlers in the world. He finished 11th out of 12 people in the Continental Classic. Because I'm one of the best.
I feel like you're editorializing his promo here, but okay,
just a little bit. Because I'm one of the best in the world, that it's only right that I stay where the best wrestle. AEW fans chant AEW. The Daniel Garcia that's staying here is not the same Daniel Garcia who's little broed by everyone in the back, who cries and complains every time he loses. I'm going to hold him to this, and I'm going to remind him of it the next time he cries and complained after he loses. This is the Daniel Garcia that AEW builds around and starts changing everything in AEW. This is a shot to everyone in the back with a championship, and that's a lot of you. You're not safe, and I'm coming for what you've got. The feeling is restored. What a fucking crock of shit this was.
Hey, Fable, did you hear that the mid-card guy with no personality is sticking around?
Yeah.
Really?
Well, did people even know? Like, I mean, obviously we knew.
Nobody knew.
I mean,
nobody. People who, again, this is online Tony.
It's a small number of people that know.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's booking for the Wrestling Observer subscriber.
Hey, well, they're the ones that buy the pay-per-views. So, and we're gonna see what's Daniel Garcia doing on the pay-per-view, by the way.
Shaking hands with Shibata, probably.
Again. He got so much TV time on this show, and he's got nothing to do with the pay-per-view.
I think this is a bad move if he did resign. And this is
if he did resign. Oh, that'd be hilarious if he didn't. But
well, no, but I mean, let's cut to the chase.
You think it's a bad mood? I don't, but go on.
I don't think when I say bad move, I don't mean, end of his career type move. I mean, every wrestler who has been on this roster for 3 to 4 to 5 years, who is still under 30, needs to knock on Tony Khan's door and go, "Where do you see me at this time next year?" They need to take some friggin' initiative. And that's, I don't want to be old man yells at cloud, but there's this thing with a lot of the young wrestlers where they think that the bookers are there to take care of them. And I'm here to tell you, they're not taking care of you. You need to go and look. If I mean, you can do this in WWE, but you have to have ideas and you have to pitch them, and then they'll decide, and maybe they'll work with you. I mean, Vince sometimes did, depending on whether or not Vince saw money in you or not, to be honest with you. But in AEW, which is art camp for the most part, you can do what you want in AEW as long as you lobby hard enough for it. But the thing is, I think there's a lot of guys who are relying on Tony to have their creative best interests in there. And all Tony's doing is booking them in matches.
Yeah, which is part. Yeah, and that's it is a
like we're 5 years in, we're finally doing kind of something with Top Flight and what resembles an angle with Action Andretti.
But where's that going? I mean,
it's going into them facing each other, which is
right. Which
will do nothing for either. Yeah,
no, it's down for both of them, honestly. And yeah, we're trying to elevate Private Party and and Daniel Garcia. So if you say to him,
I actually think Private Party elevated themselves this week a little bit. I like that.
Bryan Danielson is leaving, so you've got a spot's just opened up. And I see you. You're one of the best pro wrestlers in the world. I think you could take that spot. That's my answer if I'm Tony Khan to Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, but I don't want to watch Daniel Garcia do the "I'm the best technical wrestler in the world" promo.
Well, it's coming.
Boring.
So it's coming. God. Him and 8 other people on.
He's gonna be dancing within 2 months again.
Yeah, he didn't dance tonight when he came out. Did you notice?
Yes, yeah. I was happy about that.
Yeah, I don't think the fans were.
No, of course not. We just want to see you dance.
I had an interesting discussion with someone today in the Discord, and by the way, and I'm gonna put him down here, but I'm gonna put him over later. Larry, our friend Larry, not Larry Kaj, Larry Sternstein.
I know.
On the Discord, at gg@fightgamemedia.com if you want to join the Discord, send him an email. But we were talking, and Larry tells me that people don't want to see. How did he word this? People want to see good wrestling. They don't care. They don't care about you if you're not a good wrestler. And I said, no. People want to see stars. They don't care about wrestling.
They want to see heat, and they want to see stars.
Care about wrestling is a small number of people that are very loud online and in certain forums, but overall, the ticket buying and the TV viewing audience. Yeah, I mean, if it's a good match between 2 stars, I mean, yes, 100%, absolutely. They're in for that. But we just saw last week, Bryan Danielson and Kazuchika Okada, 2 legit, possibly the 2 best professional wrestlers in the world, had a match, and they lost 250,000 viewers as the match went on. And this was the match that potentially could have been the end of Bryan Danielson's career, which they never told us, by the way. But if you're playing along and paying attention to the storyline, that could have been Bryan Danielson's last match.
No, it's great if you get to go there for a night and you see, a 5-star classic that has been built up or whatever. Like, I got to see Flair Steamboat in Landover, Maryland, or whatever, when they were doing that in '89 or whatever. Mm-hmm. But for the majority of people, I was in the building when DX rode a tank into the scope or whatever, that's what they'll remember for the most part. They won't remember, I was there for a important title change. They'll remember that, but for the most part, they'll remember angles if you give them to them.
I've been to 2 AEW Dynamite tapings in Winnipeg, and I've been to, I want to say, 4 Raw tapings in Winnipeg. And you want to know what I hear about the most out of all those 6 shows? It's not a match.
Right.
It's Ric Flair playing musical chairs and kicking the chair out from Stacy Keibler. That was over 20 years ago, and that's what people remember.
Yes, this is the Regal Party of 3 statement. When I think it was it was Sheamus and I think either Wade Barrett or Cesaro. I can't remember which.
Oh yeah.
When he said the proudest moment is he goes, people won't remember your matches, but they'll remember the time I cross-dressed and went to the ring, type of a thing. And that's almost true in some ways. For WWE, it's true, but I mean, like every other
is the best wrestler in the world, and I mean, a lot of people are going to remember his matches. But
when I talk wrestling, or at least remembering things, I remember certain beatdowns that people did as an angle that then led to a good match. I'll find good matches here and there, but hey, I remember when the Horseman took Ricky Morton's face and rubbed it against the ground and stuff. He had to wear a mask for that. And then I'll try and remember, okay, where was those good Rock and Roll Express versus Horseman matches? What pay-per-view? I don't remember, or Clash or something like that. I have hard time remembering that, but I remember the angles that lead.
There are some good matches that stick out.
It's just, I think, and I think Daniel Garcia needs a personality injection in some ways. That promo was okay, but it's just like, okay, I'm here to wrestle. Great. How convenient that we're in a wrestling company. See, this is shots across the bow to the other company.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. And I mean, but all that said, I do think he made the right choice, because I think his chances of making it are better in AEW. I don't think
I would agree. I think, but I think there are some skill sets he could have learned in developmental, even if he didn't make it in WWE.
that would have helped him when he came back.
That would have
to
helped him when he came
it-
back. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That I'll agree with for sure. So we get this little bit of an awkward
Because AEW doesn't have a communications class in any way, to my knowledge.
I do not believe they do. So we get this weird, like, kind of awkward segment where, like, Excalibur says that we're gonna hear. He says we're gonna hear from Swerve Strickland, but then he's like, "Oh no, we're gonna find out what Swerve's been up to since we last saw him." And then it's just a video package, and they're like recapping the MVP promos, and they show shots of him working out. And there was this freaking big, huge, jacked up dude beside him that I've never seen him with. They didn't tell us who it was. I think it might have been EJ and Nduku.
It was.
Was it? Okay. They might have been wanting to mention his name.
Yeah.
Because that guy, I mean, you watch this package, and I'm sorry, Swerve's a great dude, but you're looking at this guy thinking, okay, who's that? I've seen him, and he's not a very good wrestler, but he could definitely be a heavy, and fuck some people up for Swerve if he becomes a heel again. So
yeah,
it was weird. But so, and then they announced that he's going to return at Wrestle Dream. So I assume it's just for a promo. They didn't mention an opponent or anything, but we'll see. I thought he would have been a good person to accept Darby.
You know where he's coming in, don't you?
No.
He's helping Jay White win.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. Although I wonder who Jay White was talking about. MJF? Like he was mentioning two people that halted his path to the world title, and Hangman was one of them. And when I'm done with Hangman, I'll get to the second one. Oh, so it was MJF. Okay. So then we go back to Renee. I should point out, MVP and Shelton were watching this Swerve promo, and Shelton was nodding, and MVP was smiling and clapping. I just had to get that in there. So we go to Renee, and she says, "Spokane, welcome your CEO." And Mercedes looks at her and she says, she's just disgusted.
As she should be. Yeah. So it's terrible.
Yeah. And Renee says, "Tonight is your first double title defense against Emi Sakura." And then she says, "Emi had some strong words for me on Twitter or X or whatever it's called. Everyone wants to tweet at me. Everyone wants to jump on the money train. Just ask Chris that. I have all the respect for Emi. She's been wrestling longer than I've been alive. Not the first time I've dethroned a queen, and it won't be the last because money changes everything." I assume she's talking about Charlotte? I don't know. What other queen did she dethrone?
Aminata?
What throne? No. I don't think she's wrestled Aminata.
I'm
sure she's talking about Charlotte.
Oh, you mean her? Okay, yes, that's Charlotte.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about Emi.
No. She's got to be talking about Charlotte as the other queen, right?
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
Emi. I remember the tweet. She told Mercedes to hey, you're gonna wear something open chested so that my chops hurt more or something to that effect. It was one of those types of promos, but yes.
All right, and this leads us to 4-way number 1 contenders match. So this was supposed to be Willow and Britt Baker, but Britt Baker was unavailable due to illness. So it is, and I'm not sure what the illness was, but I think we talked about this earlier, didn't we? Or
we did, and you made a joke about it.
Was it off air? Yeah, no, it was on air.
No, it was on air.
Okay. All right. So is Willow versus Nyla Rose versus Jamie Hayter versus Saraya. And you know what's funny is I had no idea like what a random group of people that they're putting together in a match, especially since Saraya just lost to Jamie Hayter. And then I didn't even realize it until later on when Willow did a promo that this was 3 former world champions and Willow.
Well, they said if you want to skip the intros, they said it during Nyla's entrance.
Oh, did they? Okay, so that's on me then. Okay.
And by the way, when you said what do you know what was funny? What was funny was Mariah May saying Jamie Hayter looks like Daphne from Scooby-Doo.
I wrote down a bunch of stuff that she said.
Oh God, that was such a good line.
So it's these 4, and of course it's a 4-way, so there's no disqualification, which I hate.
So the greatest wrestler on AEW's roster gets immediately involved. Hell yeah.
Harley Cameron becomes part of the match.
Yes.
And I don't know what the hell she did. And
she doesn't either.
I've watched a lot of Harley Cameron over the last couple months because it feels like she's on every show. And those things are popping out. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know. Like, that's new. Like, but anyways, she pretends that she doesn't know who Jeff Jarrett is. This is Mariah. She's on commentary. This is where she mentioned like she's Jamie's dressed up like Daphne from Scooby-Doo for Halloween.
Scooby-Doo.
She kept calling her Daphne the whole match. Harley's just interfering. She's basically part of the match.
Yes.
The 4 women are brawling outside the ring, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, and they actually shot this really well, Nyla Rose does a big dive onto them from the ring. Mariah is complaining because she still hasn't got her celebration, even though they've advertised it several times. So I she's complaining, but I suppose that's actually, supposed to be ironic. They're talking about Mina and Tony and Stardom, and Mariah says Timeless Tony died at Wembley. She's asking Jeff where Karen is. She says, is she asleep in the car? And then she says, whose world is it? My world.
My world.
Hayter did a double suplex onto Willow and Nyla. Saraya tried to use a chair. Jamie got it, nailed Saraya several times. There's a table just randomly set up at ringside. And then someone runs down, and I thought it was Mariah, because she was dressed exactly the same as Mariah, and she had blonde hair and big tits.
Okay, but before you reveal this,
yeah,
it was a flash of a blonde running down. I go,
Yeah.
is that Penelope Ford?
You actually identified her? Because I had no idea.
I go, but I was mistaken. I thought I was mistaken because it could have cut away. It's like, no, I couldn't be. And then it turned out to be
I thought
Penelope
it was Mariah,
Ford.
because, like, I mean, that would have made more sense.
I saw what Mariah was wearing. She wasn't wearing black. So
I thought she was. Okay. I
actually thought it was either
is.
her or Ty Conti, or not Ty.
Oh, yeah. But no, there's just a couple big differences between Penelope Ford and
Yes.
Conte.
Yes, sir.
So Penelope Ford runs down with a chair, attacked Hayter, and Hayter chased her to the back, gave up her world title shot.
Yes.
Like a dumb
Stupid
baby face. So I asked,
babyface.
like, why is she even in this match if that's what they're going to do? Because honestly, like, as soon as this match was announced, I thought, okay, obviously Willow's winning, but why is Jamie in there? Because in my mind, Jamie Hayter's the one that you're building to eventually challenge Mercedes. And I don't know if she's going to beat her, but she's the first opponent that you're going to think, oh, she might beat her. You know what I mean? Like, she'll probably beat Camille in the lead up to it, and then they'll have the match, and then maybe she'll win, maybe she won't. So putting her in this match where she's not going to win was stupid.
Yes.
And if she did win, she's not beating Mercedes on Saturday, so that's stupid.
Yes.
So why not just not have her?
And also, this risked the crowd turning on this match because they were going to get behind Jamie Hayter,
and they kind of did. I mean, the crowd was not.
Why
really
not?
Into this.
Look, Britt's not on the show. Why not bring in Thunder Rosa, who held the title?
Yeah, Thunder, or just have a 3-way.
Or a 3-way, yeah.
Like, that's what, it didn't have to be a 4-way. So, anyways, so Mariah's reaction to this was great. She's like,
Hikaru Shida's around, whatever.
1 down, 3 to go.
Okay.
So let's hope they all do it, and it'll be a great night for me.
Yes.
And then Harley shoved Nyla off the top rope, and she landed badly on the apron and then to the ground, and she was out. We didn't see her for the rest of the match. I hope she's okay, but I feel like maybe she's not. And then Saraya and Mariah set up a table. Willow powerbomb.
Saraya and Harley.
You are right. I don't know why I wrote down Mariah here. Willow powerbombed Harley, and then Saraya rolled her up for 2. And then she picks up Saraya, does a DVD, Death Valley Driver, through the table onto Saraya. And then she rolls Saraya over to lie her beside Harley Cameron, and she pins both of them to get the win.
As they're laughing, I think, because I thought Harley was corpsing.
I wonder if she... Matt says that Rose is out with a concussion, so it can't be her.
Whatever.
And... Sheeta. Yeah, Sheeta, if she's around. So this was really bad. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
And Willow's the #1 contender, so she made up for it with a decent promo later. But
no, I'm kind of looking. Look, if it depends on the amount of ring rush he has, but Penelope Ford versus Jamie Hayter could be fun.
Yeah, but the problem here is that Willow
is that nobody believes it too. Yeah.
No, and like Willow should not be beating Mariah. I mean, the match is either Mina or Tony, or more likely a 3-way.
Yes.
Yeah. So anybody before that is just.
But this is also their version of a B pay-per-view, and they're giving Willow the makeup call for having to drop the CMLL title.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I mean, and the match will be good, I'm sure. and nobody will care.
Maybe.
I'm sure of that too. All right. Brian Keith was backstage with Jericho and Big Bill. Big Bill says, the people that need the lessons the most want them the least. And that was that. So Jericho says, come on, guys. I want to take you somewhere. And they walk into the hall and they find Rocky Romero. And he says, Rocky puts up his fist. He says, no, hold on. It's time for learning, not fighting. And Brian Keith says, class is in session. So he says, I'm trying to help you with your self-worth. You don't know your value. You've been wrestling for decades. Your best friends invited you to join their little group by giving you a t-shirt. And then Brian shouts out, you don't even own a t-shirt. And he says, they bring you in to neutralize Mark Sterling. That's as low as it gets in AEW. What a burial of Mark Sterling. He says, you ended up on your back last week while your friends celebrated in the ring. Is that what you want for your career, to be a lackey? And Rocky takes offense to this. And then Bill says, sometimes when you're in the picture, you can't see the big picture. And he walks away. And then Brian Keith says, that's a future ROH world champion. You better respect Chris Jericho. And Rocky looks at him and he says, or what? And Brian Keith says, or else. So I assume we're getting Brian Keith and Rocky Romero on Rampage. Which
that
I think
would be my assumption too.
I think we just got it 2 weeks ago, but it was good. So
I think the punchline was jumped on by Keith a little bit there, which was a little sad because I think it was supposed to be funny more than threatening. But
Matt thought the women's match was good. Okay, maybe I got to watch it again. I'm not going to do that.
Teach their own.
Give me the book, and me and Big Bill will turn this company around. Wasted talent. I mean,
look, I could have thought, I could think
around,
of,
but you can do more with Big Bill for sure.
I could think of 20 other segments that this should have been to hype the pay-per-view. Or just play the Outrunners and FTR. That's all I.
Well, yeah. I mean,
the training vignette that they put out on video was fantastic.
You know what? Okay, we love the Outrunners on this show.
Yes, right? Yes.
But I want to say, like, and it's mostly because of their character and their, and their videos.
Yeah, it's not their wrestling.
And their interview, but it is their wrestling. Their wrestling is good, man.
Yeah, it's
like
okay.
Those hot tags. Like you don't hear a crowd fired up for a hot tag like you do when Turbo Floyd tags in. Or
I love that they call it the son of a bitch elbow.
Yes. But that hot tag, man, people go nuts for that. Like it's great. It's so old school. It's awesome. Jay White and Cody Chun. Juice is out with Jay, no guns. Chun actually got a little bit of offense in. He's a big Defy guy and seen him on New Japan Strong, and he's a very good wrestler. Although they did point out here that he's been doing this for 7 years and he's still like an enhancement guy. So there is that. And he's got some good size and he's a good wrestler. So I don't know why he hasn't been signed, but
he was in a 6-man with Nick Wayne and Ultimo Dragon and Defy that I recall really liking. I forgot who was on the other side of that, but yeah.
Oh, wow. Jared at one point said that Jay White is the guy to beat in AEW. Okay. He hit a great Uranagi and then a Blade Runner for the win. And that was that.
Yep.
And then Juice gave him a mic. And the fans are booing him. So this is where I determined that none of these fans in the building actually watched Dynamite last week. Because they didn't realize Jay White was a babyface.
No.
Yeah.
It would help if we explain these things, but we'll get to that.
Well, I mean, but even if they did, it's not like the fans are going to see it. Because I don't think the AEW has yet figured out a way to show fan stuff that's on the big screen. So anyways, he says, Hangman, I told you, you're one of 2 men that roughed me up on my path to the AEW World Championship. 1 or 2 wrongs I have to correct. You're lucky. Last week, I made it very clear, Hangman. And what are you going to do about it? I'd imagine Hangman won't be quiet about it. I imagine he'll be coming around that bend, steaming from the ears, veins pumping from his head because I meddled in his business. Hangman's coming for me. But that's perfect because it's exactly what I want. I want Hangman versus Switchblade one more time. When I beat you, when I put an end to this new you, I move on to correcting wrong number 2, and then I'll move on to the gold. I'm not done. It's funny. The same voices that booed and despised me for years are willing to into existence the AEW World Champion, Jay White. This is where I determined that he wrote this promo without having any idea how the fans were going to react because those same fans that were booing him still booing him.
Oh, really? You heard boos? I heard nothing.
Well, yeah, I heard boos at the beginning and then nothing. So yeah, when he said this, there was no reaction. And he says, all starts with you, Hangman, this Saturday at Wrestle Dream. Giddy up, Cowboys. And then I wrote down fans were either quiet or booing for this because they didn't know about his face turn. So I thought this was a great promo, but unfortunately, nobody knew.
A tree fell in a forest.
Yeah. But I mean, it set up what's
and
going
no
to be
one was
great
there
match.
to hear it. Yeah, I'm watching this promo and he's not getting any reaction. So I think people just didn't understand that. Yes, I'm not a heel. I'm cutting a babyface promo, and because they just turned them out of the friggin' blue, and Jay White wasn't a part of that because there was,
and he also beat a local babyface.
Yes, he beat a local babyface.
Yeah.
And also, wasn't there like a time where it's like they were heels and he was a babyface during the MJF program, or was MJF the babyface during that time?
I think MJF was a babyface.
Whatever. It's one of those things where we don't do clear delineations because everybody just wants to be the best type of a thing. So we never really get to pay attention to who's on what side anymore. Yeah.
So Matt asked a question: am I crazy that I think Jay White is a much better fit for WWE? Finestone, which he's referring to Jeremy Finestone, the one of the hosts of Speaking of Strong Style, which you can watch every Thursday afternoon here on the Fight Game Media Network YouTube channel. Okay, I'm gonna actually agree with both of you in a way. I think Jay White's style of wrestling is more like WWE, and I think he'd do very well there. But I actually think that it fits better here because it's so different, because it stands out, because he wrestles a different style than everyone else, and because it's so different, it works. That's what I'm saying. But I get what you're both saying, but I do think like and it's similar to Daniel Garcia in a way. I think his upward trajectory is better here than it would be over in WWE.
He's not necessary in WWE because they have somebody who's better than him, who kind of fits the same mold, and that's Finn Balor.
Yeah,
to me.
Yeah, kind of. You're talking about the foreigner who's been around forever, and
he's about the same size.
Yeah, used to lead the Bullet Club.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Wears the leather jacket, the whole deal.
In terms of better wrestler, I'll disagree and I think Jay White might be a little bit better, but Finn's a bigger star.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and a better promo.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe. It's close. Jay White, I mean, this was a good promo. The problem is
Jay White's not a bad promo. I'm not saying that, but Finn
I mean, I'm glad he's moved on from just reminding us that he sold out Madison Square Garden every time he talks.
Yes.
Holy shit, we still got a lot of notes here. So, all right. Hook commandeered a camera crew looking for the assailants. And he says, you know what I'm looking for? I'm done chasing your punk ass. Reveal yourself. And so Kip Sabian bumps into him, but he doesn't identify himself. And he's got blonde hair and his beard and everything like that. And then Hook asks him, and he says, I don't know anything, but if I find out, I'll let you know. And he leaves. And then Christian and the Waynes show up, and they ask Hook, have you seen Kip Sabian around? And Hook says, no. So I got a question for you. Was Hook protecting Kip Sabian, or did Hook not recognize Kip Sabian? I'm going with the latter. I don't think Hook had any idea that Kip Sabian was the guy that he just bumped into.
Yeah. It gets even worse because then after this, Hook goes, I'm going to stay in this hallway till the people who attacked my father come out. So he's presumably still standing in that hallway.
Yeah. And Christian says to him, we're about family, man, aren't we? We both been through it. I lost Killswitch to a serious medical situation. Oh, that's news to 95% of the people watching. I sympathize with you on the loss of your father. And that's that. So that segment's over. Hook's still waiting. I suppose he'll still be waiting on Sunday.
He'll be in that building for about 3 weeks till they decide to bring him in for another show.
Yeah. So I don't know if this was supposed to basically tell us that it's not Christian. Maybe it was Kip.
No, it's supposed to tell us that it was probably Christian and Kip. I don't know.
Or
Christian
it was Kip
and Nick
trying to impress Christian.
I assumed we were going to get Nick Wayne versus Hook on this show to give Nick an actual local match.
I guess not.
Nope.
Willow, Renee is about to interview Mariah when Willow attacks her and leaves her for dead while she cuts a promo. And she says, tonight I beat 3 former women's world champions. Saturday at Wrestle Dream, I'll make Mariah May a former world champ when I become the new AEW women's world champion. Short, sweet, decent promo. Slightly below the Mark Briscoe one, but maybe the second best thing on the show up until now, which is not saying much. And that led into Mercedes and Emi Sakura double title match. Somebody here pointed out that Emi's held 15 different titles and had 28 title reigns. Crowd was dead. Mercedes just kept hitting meteoras until she tried to hit one and didn't. And Emi draped her on the barricade, splashed her. Camille was just trying stuff and wasn't working and
doing
beat
prep
up
falls because it had to involve whenever she held Mercedes would then kick her. And yeah.
And then they did a spot where Emi dove onto both of them. Like, I think Camille was holding Mercedes on a chair, and then Emi splashed both of them.
No. She does that thing with somebody against the stairs where she'll do the body press. Instead, she did against the barricade against both of them. Yeah.
And then then she hit a backbreaker. Emi did. Then Mercedes rolled out of the ring. She dragged her back in, but Mercedes held on to the ring apron. So the ref saw that and went to put the ring apron back outside. And when that was happening, Camille interfered. Mercedes rolled her up, and then she put on the former bank statement, the statement maker, and Emi tapped. And this is where I'm going to put over Larry Sternshine, because we had a big, long argument about Camille. And because he thinks, she should wrestle Statlander, and Statlander should beat her to lead to wrestling Mercedes. And I was explaining to him, no, that's not how this works. She's a heater. She's a heavy. She's the one that is supposed to stand by Mercedes and look strong, beat up jobbers, but she's not wrestling her opponents and losing to them to set up matches with Mercedes. That's not how that role works. That's Harley and Saraya.
Yes, that's how it should work. Let's put it that way.
Where Harley loses to set up matches with Saraya. That said, this is now twice where Camille has looked like a bumbling idiot in segments that were setting up opponents. At this point, I don't care what they do with her, because I don't think it's working.
Before we get it was fine to me. I enjoyed the match. I really did.
The match was fine.
Especially since I concentrated during the picture-in-picture on watching it instead of looking at my phone.
Oh, well, I fast-forwarded through. It may be the worst match I've ever seen either one of these two have, but other than that, it was okay.
Well, it was obvious, though, that Mercedes wanted Emi to get her spots in.
Yes.
Because I do think she does have a lot of respect for Emi Sakura.
And Emi got over, as Matt pointed out.
Yes. Because this crowd, I don't crowd shame usually, but I'm crowd shaming this crowd. This crowd would only pop for like Bryan Danielson for the most part. It wasn't very fun watching this show because this crowd was so dead and not into
Well, there's
it.
nobody there, so
yeah.
But
and then we get this thing, and I'm just
So Mercedes picked up Emi for Camille to attack her, but Chris Statlander made the save. So if you didn't know, as if you didn't watch either of the two shows on the weekend, Chris Statlander is now a babyface. And Camille beat on her, and then Stat booted her out of the ring. So Camille looked like an idiot again.
And so we have a creative team that can't figure out a way to get here. So we just drop the story.
Yes.
And saying, she's just a babyface now.
And according to, I believe it was Sean Ross Sapp reported, and if I'm wrong, it's one of the insiders reported.
Yes.
That Chris Statlander and Stokely, the way it was worded was, and actually it was Sean Ross Sapp on one of his things that he does on
Q&As, yes.
Yeah. The way it was worded was, having them be together anymore is not an option. That was very ominous. But they're both still on TV. So I'm not accusing anyone of anything. But the way that was worded was similar to when there is a issue between two employees at my workplace and they can't work together anymore, but you can't prove either person's side. So you're not going to punish either one of them, but you're not going to have them work together anymore. Except I think one of the people might have got punished because we didn't see them for a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden they're back.
Guess what?
What?
Don't care. You have a television show. You have to explain this somehow.
Yes. Do something. Because even in her promo on, I think it was Rampage, she says, I used to have a manager. And it's like, what? Like, why don't you anymore? Why is Stokely watching random tag team matches? Well, he finally told us tonight why he's doing that. And I guess apparently every time he was doing it, it was private party, but it took me a while to figure that out. but I mean, there's no reason. And I'm sorry, but you can't just go back to her being a babyface when she's got this issue with Willow.
Yes.
Yeah. Unless you turn Willow.
You need to explain something. You need to do a vignette. You need to do something, a repackaging of some kind. You just can't have her show up one day.
Even just do a promo and say, I found out Stokely was stealing all my money.
Yes.
Something like that.
Because if there is an actual personal matter, it doesn't matter if you bury the character on television.
Correct. But I there's obviously something happened that we're never going to hear about. So
we'll hear about eventually.
Now that's okay. Remember when they didn't explain why CM Punk and the Young Bucks just disappeared? Some of the stuff this company does makes your head hurt. Yes, this is that 100% correct. But I will say the number of people that knew about that compared to this, I mean, is like 10 times, And people, you know what? People are going to criticize me, and people are already doing it, by the way, because I complained about this. And, WWE did an angle on social media with Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, and they didn't explain it on TV. Yeah.
I got news for you that they're going to explain it on Friday.
Yes, because it isn't part of the story yet. Cody was on Raw. Yeah, to build up a match with Gunther. That has nothing to do with Kevin Owens.
They alluded to that thing that happened in the parking lot too, and they said, we'll explain it on Friday.
Yes, they did. Because the story at this point is, this wasn't supposed to happen. We're not supposed to know about it.
Yes.
But it is on social media, so go find it. It's kind of what they're telling you. But I'm not going to. Like, I've literally not seen that angle yet because I'm going to wait to see what's on TV. And if they don't show it on TV, then it didn't happen. And whatever happened between Stokely and Chris Statlander, or Kristen and whatever his name is, didn't happen because we didn't see it. So that's that. Remarkable Renee Paquette is with Private Party. They are days away from Wrestle Dream. This was great. They face the Bucks for the tag team titles, and before they get a chance to talk, Stokely asks for some time. And he tells them, every time you get an opportunity, you knock it out of the park. At All Out, I took down the most lovable person in AEW. You two have all the tools, and you're missing one thing, and that one thing is me. Private Party, Big Stoke, what do you say? And Quen looks at him, and he says, where were you the last 5 years? Now that we're number one contenders, you show up. Thanks, but no thanks. We don't need you. And he leaves. And then Zaya says, for the first time in 5 years, we're doing this by ourselves. We have an opportunity, and we have an official tag team match on a pay-per-view. We're desperate for those tag team championships. You guys got complacent, so allow us to put that chip back on your shoulder. Private Party will be the next AEW World Tag Team Championships. And after we do that, that'll be a party that everyone can be invited to.
Yeah.
Great promo.
This is good. This is a good go-home promo. This is a good money promo. I like this a lot.
Got me to care. Brought me from like a 1 to maybe like a 3.5.
They weren't doing shots. They weren't being goofy. They were serious, and I liked it.
And my WWE-addled brain tells me Stokely probably helps them win the titles.
That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, but we're both fed-pilled, so it's probably not going to be that. They're just going to.
Well, it's not just that. It's just that AEW basically doesn't do angles very well, to be honest with you. Yeah. So it's one of those things where they'll take from WWE liberally, and this is one of those things that they'll do.
Except the Bucks are just going to beat them.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone's in the ring. He said last week Will Ospreay defended the international championship against, on Saturday, Will Ospreay defends the international championship against Konosuke Takeshita and Will Ospreay, or again, Ricochet, sorry. Brings out Will Ospreay. Schiavone reminded us that Takeshita broke up the match last week. And he says, what happened had Don Callis' fingers all over it. Will thinks he's onto something. He said, last week, I was going to look at my past, beat it, and move on. Myself and Ricochet are equal now, but it's because of one man, Konosuke Takeshita. I've been a part of that family. I know how they operate. Takeshita doesn't do anything without Don Callis giving the go-ahead. Don Callis, let's have a chat. So Don comes out there, tries to hug Will, but he won't do it. And he says, I got something important to say to you right now, Will. Last week was very difficult for me emotionally. I hate to see you unhappy. It got me thinking. Remember when you and I beat Kenny Omega at Forbidden Door? When I booked you with Chris Jericho and you beat him at Wembley? And Will says, Don, stop talking about last year. We're talking about last week. Did you send Takeshita out to attack me? And then Don says, I think you're asking the wrong question. Will interrupts him again, says, you're waffling on. Yes or no? Did you send Takeshita to attack me? And Don says, you don't need to know that. And then, well, yes, I do. And then finally, Don just blurts out, yes, I sent him. I sent him out of frustration because you wouldn't listen. I tried to give you my good advice. I had to show you who makes the decisions in the family. I sent him to show you. 2 weeks ago, Will, we were this close. I was this close to winning the World Tag Team title. You dropped the ball because you were mentally weak. You're too weak to know what needed to be done. And Will says, I brought you the International Championship, bruv. If you would have stuck my nose in my business at Forbidden Door, I'd have brought you the world title as well. Allow me to tell you, you don't know shit, bruv. And then he says, the best wrestler in the world, I had the best wrestler in the world. I threw him in the garbage for you. Maybe, Will, I need to throw the best wrestler in the world in the garbage one more time. And then Will says, I can't believe I had any type of respect for you. You're everything people warned me about. Utter scum. Me and you, we're done. Callis slaps him. Will threw down his belt, went after Callis, tossed him across the ring. Callis took a great bump. Takeshita shows up. They brawl. Kyle Fletcher shows up, pulls him off. Will almost hit him. Kyle calmed him down. Takeshita suplexed him out of his boots. Kyle's acting all conflicted. Don Callis hands him a screwdriver, puts it right in his hand. Fans are chanting, no, no, no. Fletcher shakes his head and walks away. Takeshita gets between them. Kyle leaves with the screwdriver, so they go back to brawling. Callis grabbed Will from behind. Takeshita decked him with an elbow. Callis handed him the belt. Ricochet made the save. So he shows up finally out of nowhere. Runs right past Kyle. Hit the springboard forearm. Misses an axe kick. And then the heels bail. I thought it was a good segment to build up the match on Saturday.
I'd agree. And the only thing I thought might happen was that Archer was going to boot Fletcher, but I think they're saving that. And I think eventually, I think Fletcher's leaving the Callis family as well.
Oh, so you don't think I'm right that Fletcher's turning on him?
Fletcher's turning on Will?
Yeah, I think so. I've been saying that for weeks.
No. I was thinking that too, but I mean, with the screwdriver thing, it was one of those things where it's like, no, now I think they've changed their mind.
Okay, or we were wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
Matt says favorite segment of the show. Callis is criminally underutilized and poorly booked. I can't believe he still has so much heat after being booked so badly for so long. Yeah, he definitely has heat.
Well, no, he has a commanding presence on the microphone. And he can actually convey menace, unlike every single other manager that they have.
And the other thing is
the problem is then they do something goofy with him, or they put him on commentary to be wacky, as opposed to being an actual, threatening manager.
The way people react to him as well helps his heat as well, because everyone constantly mentions is what a scumbag he is.
Yes.
So that helps. Next we got Top Flight with Layla and Action Andretti and somebody, whoever was with them. I think it might have been Renee. Or no, there was nobody interviewing them. Darius just says, how do we feel about losing the #1 contenders match? We're pissed off. We should be wrestling the Bucks. We beat the Bucks. Really? Okay. There's no reason we shouldn't have a title shot. And then Action says, you ain't fired up. And then Layla interrupts him and says, right now, you are our problem. You're messing everything up. What you did last week screwed us. Okay. I watched Collision. I watched Rampage. I have no idea what the hell she's talking about. Do you?
No.
Is this what you were talking about earlier? When you said somebody mentioned something that happened and...
No, I was saying, I think I was talking about Statlander.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what the hell she was talking about here, but Dante said he's all go and no think, and this is going to cost us if we don't fix it. So I thought they were like, the promo was fine and everything, but this was really weird.
I think this is a giant feint, which is going to be bad, because I think actually Leo Rush is the mole in the group that's going to turn on him. And I just want to make my joke, please return Layla Gray to the upright position upon landing. It's a stewardess joke. It's old, but it's good.
Who's banging her, Darius?
No. She's married to another worker who's out here with her in the because they're out here and they're training at New Japan.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I heard about that. I didn't realize she was married though.
Oh yeah, she's married, or at least engaged.
She's off the market.
Yep.
Sorry, boys.
Sorry, Jeff. Yes.
Wasn't that that was JR used to say that about Pat Patterson, eh? He's off the market. Sorry, boys.
Yeah.
That was funny. All right. Jack Perry promo. joined in progress. Did you? I fast forward to the commercials, and then all of a sudden I see Jack Perry talking. So I was like, okay, so I rewind a little bit. And when you fast forward, it's 30 seconds, but when you rewind, it's only 7. So I
don't think he was halfway through his monologue when they got to him. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he had already been talking for a little while. And violence. I want to meet the Shibata that nearly killed himself in the center of the ring because he was willing to sacrifice in that match. So this was kind of similar to the Danielson or to the Moxley promo.
Yes.
No question you deserve to be the TNT champion, but it's not about what you deserve. It's what you are willing to take. This title says I'm one of the best. So come and take it from me. That's fine.
Yeah, because I think he started, we're the best wrestle. It's like, oh, God.
Oh,
is this her tagline now?
Yeah, kind of. A little bit.
Where the big boys play?
Oh, just dawned on
or actually, no, it's more the Bill Watts, we wrestle. All right.
Fine. Almost midnight here, and I still haven't watched NXT or Dana White's Contender Series. I think those shows are waiting until tomorrow. Anyway,
first hour of NXT was really good. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to watching it tomorrow. Yep. All right. Main event: Danielson and Wheeler against Claudio and PAC. And Danielson and Wheeler come out to Final Countdown. So this is only the second time he's used it on TV. The other one was Grand Slam Dynamite, and I'm wondering if maybe they did that because it might be the last time he gets to. So breaking news: Hangman versus Jay White is going to be on the pay-per-view. They point out. So they had a decent match, and again, the story was Wheeler basically fighting by himself against mostly PAC for a little while, and then eventually,
they're playing up the fact that Claudio doesn't want to fight him, but
neither one of them really.
Yuta wants to fight him though.
Yeah, but then eventually they did. At one point, Danielson was outside the ring, and they said he was injured, but I mean, it was like, so Wheeler's wrestling a handicap match. Danielson is supposedly injured on the outside, but nobody is concerned that, he might not make the match on Sunday or anything. No doctors are checking on him or anything like that. And then all of a sudden he's just in the corner waiting for a tag. And even Wheeler, like he got a blind tag, and Wheeler, you're there. And then so Bryan Danielson comes in, he makes this great babyface comeback. Did all his signature moves, went for a run off the top rope. Claudio blocked it, was about to power bomb. Then Danielson actually did reverse that, did the head kicks of doom. And then I had no idea where PAC is. And then right away he made the save, but Danielson he's a freaking Superman here. Got on PAC, gave him the kicks of doom. Claudio hit him with an uppercut to the back of the head, went for the neutralizer, but Danielson back body dropped out of it. Then he hit a backslide for 1 count, head kick. Claudio's down. He's about to do the running boot, but then he notices Moxley and Marina show up at ringside. And then Claudio hit him with a flying uppercut for 2, tagged in PAC. PAC hit a 450 splash. I actually thought that was going to be the finish, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Marina was on the ring to distract the ref. PAC went and grabbed the ring hammer. Wheeler got it away from him. They're arguing. Danielson put PAC in the label lock, and he tapped instantly, even though Claudio was right there and could have broken it up, but he was like arguing with Yuta or something. So match is over.
Yeah, they were arguing with each other with the hammer, and then in the meantime,
but they're literally right in front of like where Danielson's gonna, like maybe they'd already used up their save, so they weren't.
No, the stage. It was meant to have this kind of staging.
Okay.
With Yuta with the hammer and Claudio trying to talk him into using it on.
And every time Wheeler's holding the hammer, in the back of your mind, you're thinking he's going to turn.
Yes.
But he doesn't. So anyways, Danielson dove onto Moxley on the outside, starts brawling with him, and they brawl to the back. And they keep cutting to the back, showing Danielson beating the shit out of Moxley. And then they go back to the ring where Wheeler is getting triple teamed. At one point, Marina's just beating the snot out of Wheeler by herself. They brawl through a tunnel. This is Mox and Danielson. Mox is just doing that over dramatic, comical selling. Go back to the ring. Now PAC's beating on Wheeler. Danielson threw Mox into a garage door. Go back to the ring. It's 3-on-1 on Wheeler. Claudio called it off, but then he was holding a hammer, nailed Wheeler on the gut 3 times. And after the third one, then Danielson and Moxley are back. They're brawling at ringside. Danielson threw him in the ring. He went wild, cleaned out everyone. And then finally, I think this was the first time in this whole main event segment, Excalibur mentioned that his career was on the line on Saturday. And the final countdown played again. Mox and Marina retreated up the ramp. And oh my God, these two, like they looked like they were about to go off to a hotel room. Like, did you see that? Like, they were real comfy with each other, and they got to address this Renee thing, like, at some point.
Yes.
Like, yeah, like, it's weird, man.
And they let Marina beat the crap out of Yuta.
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
When they went up the ramp, Marina started attacking Yuta with knees.
Yeah.
That was just like, all
Yeah.
right.
And so Danielson raised Wheeler's arm at the end, and Wheeler just kind of looked at him like, dude. And that was it. So I mentioned earlier, I was talking to somebody, we were texting back and forth, and he thinks that, it's obvious, like Wheeler's going to help Danielson retain his title on Saturday. And I'm like, I think he might have that backwards. But I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have nothing else to say. I'm tired, and I just I already talked about this angle, and I was just like, the match was okay. It was just I got tired of PAC's actually trying to hurt Yuta, and then you tag in Claudio, and Claudio's just doing like sugar holds and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then eventually hits him with the hammer. I mean, this was an angle match. It was fine.
Yeah.
Let's move on and retire Danielson and figure out what this whole thing's about, shall we?
All right. So the card, we'll run this down real quick.
All right.
Bryan Danielson, John Moxley with Marina Shafir.
Moxley.
Yeah, I think Moxley's winning, and Danielson's retiring. So for the second year in a row, babyface hero is losing his belt in Washington.
Yeah, that'll bring people back.
Yeah. Well, they've only sold 6,000 tickets for the show on Saturday. Hangman Adam Page and Jay White. I honestly have no idea. Like, my booking brain tells me it should be Hangman, but Jay White cut a hell of a promo today, and it made me think it might be him.
Swerve screws Hangman. Jay White wins.
There you go. Yeah, I like that. Mariah May and Willow for the AEW Women's World Championship. It's got to be
Mariah May. Easy. Yeah.
Probably return of Tony here, I would think.
I think return of Mina.
Maybe both.
Could be.
Because we already saw the return of Mina. Young Bucks. Young Bucks defending the tag team titles against Private Party. I kind of want to see a title change, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen, but I think the Bucks really want to be on a mission here to put Private Party over.
Yeah.
I think this might steal the show.
Could be. And I would say a week ago, I was not looking forward to this at all.
Same.
So they've done a good job. Three-way for the AEW International Championship. Will Ospreay defends against Ricochet and Konosuke Takeshita. What do you think?
Takeshita.
I think so too. I think he pins Ricochet. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Jack Perry defending the AEW TNT Championship against Katsuyori Shibata. God bless the wrestler. He's not winning.
Yeah, Perry's retaining this.
Yeah. Darby Allin, Brody King, just a singles match. Gotta be Darby, right?
Doesn't matter. But
yeah.
But Darby's local, so I would think they put him over here.
Well, I think he's probably the first challenger for Moxley, right?
That too, yeah.
Yeah. So, well, unless it's Jay White. Mark Briscoe defending the ROH World Championship against Chris Jericho.
Chris Jericho's taking this title.
No.
Yes.
No. God, I hope you're wrong. This one we're definitely against. I don't want him to be
so. I think they're going to do a run with Jericho. He might not be a long run, but I think that they're going to give him a run with this title.
Okay, I hope you're wrong, and I'm predicting you're wrong. So we're differing on that one. And then I believe this is on 0 Hour. Atlantis Jr. is defending the ROH World Television Championship against Brian Cage. I watch ROH every week, and they have not done a damn thing to set this match up.
I have seen this match 20 times. It's going to be the Brian Cage getting his stuff in, doing things where he catches the luchador who flies at him. He's going to try and catch him in a suplex position, what was the name of the little dude in Lucha Underground that because I saw this in PWG. It's every Brian Cage versus a luchador match. Where Brian Cage is going to try and do feats of strength that go against the laws of physics. So it could be a mess or it could be really cool looking, but Brian Cage is losing this every day on Sunday.
I predict it'll be a fun match because Brian Cage usually has great matches with luchadors. Although Atlantis isn't your typical luchador, I should point out. Like, he's more of a ground-based guy. He doesn't do a lot of the flying, flippy stuff. So
Oh,
yeah, he's not Komander. You know,
Thank God.
he's more like Mystico. I mean, Mystico does diving and stuff like that too, but he's more.
I
of
want
like
Hechicero back. Damn it.
yeah, I like Hechicero. Yeah, so that's the pay-per-view. I imagine that's 9 matches, one of them being on the pre-show. There's 8 main card matches, so they don't need any more. That said, they'll probably add another 4. There is no.
Isn't Hechicero, by the way, in the Gates of Agony?
I think he is, yeah. So there's no Collision this week, so it's only Rampage we got left between now and the pay-per-view. Because the last time they had the pay-per-view on Saturday, they did a 3-hour block on Friday, but they're not putting Collision against SmackDown anymore. So yeah, this is what they're doing this week. So that's Saturday. I think I'll probably buy this show. I don't know why, but there hasn't been an AEW show in a while, so probably watch it.
I'm gonna wait.
Yeah,
I'll buy a replay if it's good.
Fair enough. So yeah, next week I don't think I'm here. I'll try to find a sub. I suppose I could do the show from my hotel room in Minneapolis, because the concert we're going to isn't until Thursday, but we're driving down Wednesday, so we're not tired.
Don't overextend yourself.
Yeah, no. I mean,
I've had babysitters before. I behave.
We'll find out. I'll put the word out and see if anybody wants to babysit.
Who wants to do a show with Hawkins? Not me, damn it.
Are you kidding? We get people fighting to host the show with you.
I know.
So yeah, I should have mentioned this to you earlier, but it just occurred to me this week that I'm not gonna be here next week. So that's it. Get your plugs in.
At Crap Game 13, I do a show called Shake Them Ropes on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network this week. Who knows? Because there's not a lot of news, and it's Tuesday, so it's early. But sometime this week, either Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, Chris Novembrino will be back because he finally got internet at his new place. No Vader Club picked yet because, again, it's early in the week, and I have to corral him a little bit and see what's up. But we'll also probably do a preview of this show, and we'll give ice cold takes on what was a very interesting Bad Blood. At least that Hell in the Cell match was really good. And that will drop sometime late. We have our own podcast feed at Shake Them Ropes, or you can do the super feed of the entire Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network.
And for me, you can check out some of my recent writing over at fightgamemedia.com. I've been doing a weekly column every week with my matches of the week. I had a GCW match on there this week, believe it or not. Basha Slamovich and Man Like Doris from a couple weeks ago. I watched it this week, so I put it in my list this week. It was really excellent match. And yeah, so you can check that out. Punk and Drew was my match of the week for last week, surprisingly.
Love that match.
That was great. And I also, at some point soon, maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, I will be doing a review of the movie Choke Slam, which I watched this week. It stars Lance. Well, I shouldn't say it stars. Lance Storm is in it, as is Mick Foley and Harry Smith and Chelsea Green, and Giselle Shaw has a cameo.
Are there any actors in it?
Nobody you've heard of. It's a Canadian.
You don't know.
Indie.
I've heard of a lot of people.
Well, it's a Canadian indie, but it's set in around the world of wrestling. And my one sentence description of this movie was, it is a slightly better version of Ready to Rumble with a little bit more charm and 1/10 of the budget. So, not a rigging endorsement, but I did pop for seeing Lance Storm, and he got in, if I can be serious for a moment, into the movie. So apparently the writer / producer was a big Lance Storm mark. So that's how that got in. I talked to Lance about the movie. So yeah, I'm going to write about it, and you can check out that review at fightgamemedia.com. I'll tweet it out. And then I'll be back here in 2 weeks and 1 day to recap whatever's going on. And imagine by 2 weeks from now, this company's going to look radically different as we head towards Revolution in November. So for Jeff Hawkins, I've been Paul Fontaine, and this has been the Dynamite Show.